It's God's plan.
All right, cool. God's plan.
That's what's it.
All right, cool. Just to let you know, we're actually starting recording now. Just let you know. No, it's fine. You want to take your time? A little intermission in the beginning. All right. By the time you sit down, we'll probably already be one. All right, cool. All right, we're good on the video side of things? All right, cool. Hello. This is another special episode of the Mental Threads podcast. I'm here with my guest, Mr. Chris. It's Gere.
Gere, you got it. Gere, yeah.
Gere.
And a lot of people slaughter that. I'm saying Gere, Gene. Some people even in the email used to just call me Gene. Like, I don't know. They call me by the last name. It was wrong, too. So, I'm sure everybody gets their name screwed up. It's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah. But Mr. Chris Gere for the 163rd episode of the Mental Threads podcast. Yeah, I got you on like last minute notice and everything, but we've seen each other around at various events and everything. I knew you had good energy then, and now I actually listen to your music now. I was like, wow, his music is really, really good.
Thanks for doing that.
And everything. I appreciate you for coming on, yes.
Of course, appreciate it, yeah. You've been working. 160 is legit.
Yes.
You've been working.
I try to do the best I can, try to do something different for each season and everything. And what's good about this time period right now is like I'm meeting so many different people from so many different backgrounds and everything. And I sometimes have previous people who are on the podcast again and everything. So it's like, it's just amazing,
right?
And stuff like that.
Brings variety too.
Yeah, it brings a whole lot of variety. But let's get into detail with Chris Gere and everything.
Yes,
where are you from? So
I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up like 20, 30 minutes north of Baltimore.
That is cool.
Yeah, Maryland guy. And then my wife and I moved to Florida in 2008, and we're there for like about 7 years, and then moved to North Carolina from Florida. And there was a stop. We went back to Florida for 1 year. I'm not going to get worry with all those details. So we basically moved to Florida twice, but we've been here basically since 2013.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So like you identify more as like a Baltimorean or like a Marylandian?
Yeah, like Maryland. I mean, Maryland is my roots, but I'm definitely like I'm locked. I love it here. I love it in North Carolina. I love the Charlotte area. Yeah, so it's both, right? It's both, right? Because that's my home, right? If anyone who's moved here, like that's my home. Those are my roots, but NC is in my blood too now.
Okay. And from my understanding, what you told me earlier is that you have two boys, correct?
2 boys, yeah, 15 and 13.
Oh, 15 and 13.
Yeah.
Oh, in the teenage year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's about like the same gap as me and my brother, like 2 years gap in between them. Okay.
Yeah, close enough. You can still fight and everything, but also help each other.
Yeah, those are some good times, man. Those are really, really good times. Would you say like they have a very like close knit relationship and everything?
They get along well. The two of them. I mean, they can annoy each other, but it was worse when they were younger as far as like getting on each other's nerves. But they get along well. Like they both have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same with me and my brother. But going into details, so like your kids actually grew up more in North Carolina or like in Florida?
Yeah. Well, both, right? So my oldest son was born. They were both born in Florida, and there's from like 2008, 2013, so 5 years. And then since 13 to now, I'm doing all the math right now. So 13 to now. So since they've spent more time in North Carolina, so they, the younger years they were in Florida, but they've grown up, since then in North Carolina.
Okay, cool. And like, just tell me more about your life, like growing up in Baltimore, because like I got family in Maryland. The last time I was in Baltimore, I saw somebody get shot. Yeah, I was like, wow,
I believe it. Yeah, there's been, it just historically has like really rough. Like, I mean, any city, right? Yeah. Any city has this rough. Baltimore is known for a rough area. So I didn't grow up in the city, right? I was born there. My dad worked in the county area. My dad was a high school teacher.
Oh, nice.
And after college, I worked in Baltimore also. So I worked in like the Inner Harbor, like the downtown area type thing. So I wasn't day to day in the city type thing. Except for when I was working or living near outside. I live in a suburban area outside of Baltimore, but. So, it was grew up outside of Baltimore. Baltimore very much, it was an influence, though, right? So including hip hop culture, which was like big part of like the music and that kind of environment that I was in, the school I went to and the sports I played. So it's always been kind of in my heart as well.
Oh, really? And how did you discover your love for hip hop? How did it grow into you?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the first thing. I think it started when I was younger, my dad coached basketball. He was a high school basketball coach. And I remember one time for like their warm-up mixtapes, CDs, right? He brought home Baltimore club music. It was like the first like hip hop variant that I'd heard, and I love it was fire. I loved it. It was just the beats and everything was real upbeat. So I was probably in elementary school the first time I heard that, and I was like, I kind of loved that aspect of it. And then more kind of getting into middle school became more popular. Just hearing more, friends, the radio, whatever it was, just hearing more and more of like music, probably like the middle school days. So I think just socially, being in the environment.
And you were in middle school around like in the 90s
this
or late 80s?
That's a good question. So 83, so that would put me like like 90s, like 95, something like that. Like 90, 95, something like that.
Because you grew up in the time where it was like at its dopest now, and like nowadays it's just like,
oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
And everybody had their own sound in the 90s.
Yeah,
that was like the most best part about it.
Yeah.
Like, you had your West Coast here, and then you had your Northern here, and then your Southern kind of growing into itself right there. But everybody had their own voice, and that's what I really, really admired about like the 90s and early. There's
a lot of similar sounds today. I think because when someone does well, a lot of people will copy that sound because they know that there's a market for it. So I'm with you that even with all the engineering that's done, all the digital stuff. So I'm with you. There was very distinct sounds at that time. So it was a lot of fun. So, I mean, like, so going into like high school area, like the influences for me at that time were Jay-Z, DMX were like big ones. And
Love DMX.
DMX is crazy. I mean, then it just goes on and on. The Locks. Back then, right? It's not cool to say, but like, Bad Boy was tough, right? Bad Boy was doing well. There's a lot of influence. I just consumed a ton of music. You know, Big Pun's another one.
Love Big Pun.
Biggie, Tupac, Cannabis. There's so many, right? Outkast, obviously, when they came on fire. But yeah, so just all that kind of came in, and including playing a lot of sports and kind of warm up music. Just getting hyped up was a lot of fun.
So you would say that rap music was just kind of inspirational for you, on top of just also being like, okay, this is like this nice, wonderful thing that mixes in with sports and motivational and everything. You just kind of, what you said, you just identified with hip hop.
I felt it. Like, I mean, now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the only thing I listened. I have an eclectic, I think like a lot of artists. I listened to one of your other episodes, and I think it was Big Mother or Shadow Now.
Yeah.
And I remember her mentioning, and I relate with this, right? I've consumed a lot. Like, so my even younger years, so like my mom and dad my mom would like clean the house and blast pop music. So at that time it was like Bon Jovi, or she was playing older stuff from the Beatles, or it was like Motley Crue, or it was Madonna. Like, so I'm like, there's a lot of like that stuff growing up. And then I remember like the first CD that I got was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh.
And I remember like it was a really hard time when my family was going through, just things with parents and all that stuff was going on. A lot of things were going on. And I remember that was the first time that music had like hit a real emotional chord. I was probably around 7th grade, playing on the tape, and I'd press it and make my own tapes. But I remember that's when music really hit me from emotional. Like, there was sadness that was like, I was able to relate with it. So like, then even in high school, there was like a lot of alternative rock as well, like bands like Incubus, OAR, Of a Revolution, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, a real wide. So I related to just whatever felt right, whatever felt good. And even to this day, like, if it sounds good, I like it.
Yeah, good rock music is really, really dope too. Like, it's like, I listen to rock music too. I think what really helped me with rock music was like wrestling video games. I feel like that's what really put me on.
You can definitely get pumped up when you see that, slamming some bodies, hitting with a chair.
Like 3 Days of Grace, System of a Down.
I
love a System of a Down.
They go off.
They're so distinct too. That's what I really, really love about them. And everything. Incubus is really, really good. Finger 11, is that what they're called? Finger 11?
I know. Was that one of the album names? No, that was a different band.
I think that's what they were called. Finger 11. I know they did Kane's theme song. I don't know if you're a heavy like wrestling.
Okay, I know Kane is.
But they did like a bunch of songs too as well. But it's just like, I feel like sounds like those are just, they have like a very inspirational vibe to them, and I feel like a lot of music loses its soul by just doing what everybody's doing.
Right. I agree. So things that, I really connect with stuff. Just if it makes you feel something. And I've realized that as an artist, like, ultimately the artist is expressing some kind of message and emotion, right? And it could be any range of emotion, from the highest highs to the lowest lows, or having fun, whatever. But I think I didn't realize it then, but I do now as an artist, right? That it's all about the expressing of emotion in some way, right? A story too, right? But at the end of the day, like at the very base level, it's just the feel. It's whatever that emotion is they're trying to get through. That's why it's interesting, even like, there's a whole controversy over, some people like, I care about lyrics. Other people like, I just care about the sound. I care less. I think the base, like vibrational level, they just care about, the end of the day, they really care about what it feels like.
Yeah.
Right. But then the words add another layer to that, right? When it's something that you can connect with, or a story you can connect with.
Yeah. Words can paint pictures. That's why I feel like Tupac is so important, like in my life, and really like introducing me to a new side of hip hop, because like, in middle school, before then, it was like a transitional period. I just saw music as just like a fun thing. Like, you play at parties,
right?
Come on, you watch a music video, sit down with your family. Like, that's just how I saw hip hop. It was just a fun thing.
Right.
And then it's just like, but then it's just one day it's just like I got an MP3 player, and everybody else got an iPad.
Oh, yeah, they were
got
sick.
an
MP3 players were the bomb, man.
Yes.
They were sick.
And I burned, for some reason, I don't know how my mom got this CD. It was just mixed into a bunch of CD, but she got the greatest hits of Tupac, but it was only the second disc and everything.
Okay.
So just off that 1 second disc, I burned it to like the MP3 player, and all that I was listening to was like To Live and Die in L.A., Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama, and just things like that.
Dear,
and it was just
Dear Mama's once.
Tupac knew how to like paint pictures and like convey emotions, and it was like, this is so different. And it's just like, the more I listened to it and got into his catalog and like jump into like other things that I love, like Biggie Smalls and everything. Everybody was getting into all the modern stuff at that time.
Right.
I was really getting deeper into that rabbit hole of the 90s and just learning the history of hip hop.
That's interesting.
And YouTube was so influential in helping me do that as well. So I'm very, very happy that I didn't have to like go out of my way to actually learn more about hip hop.
That's a beautiful thing about it. Yeah. How you can like get in those archives, like Tupac, which I learned later on. So he grew up in Baltimore, like spent a lot of time in Baltimore, and went to like acting school or whatever it was, was like theater, like the arts, which makes so much, it makes so much sense. Like there's such a crossover. I mean, it's performing, you're sharing, you're expressing.
Yes.
So it's like, without a doubt, between that and his life experience, being able to channel those skills into, in storytelling, rapping, his image, all of it, like to really like help people feel what he was feeling.
Yes, and it's so crazy because I think I'm at the same age he passed away. I'm 26. He passed away at 25, or was it 26?
I don't remember the exact age.
I know
it's crazy when you think about that.
Yeah, like he did all that before he reached like my age.
They said his work ethic was unreal.
Yeah,
like he'd be like, well, we're gonna do this, boom, 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 knock out a bunch of tracks just like that.
And then like now we have so many catalogs left behind with it to just go deep. There's probably a bunch of unreleased songs that a lot of people or the masses haven't heard yet.
True.
And everything, and it's just like it's still locked in with him and everything, and it's just like I feel that's just a wonderful thing as an artist. Although, like, I really would have loved to see Biggie and Tupac to actually grow into themselves, like become business owners and everything, raise their families, their family out. But that's just the thing about hip hop. That's why I really adore your music. Is that it's all just feel good music and everything. It's stuff that I would put on a road trip. But it's like the type of feel good music that doesn't insist upon itself, like a Flo Rida, like it's like cashing out type stuff.
Right.
Nothing against Flo Rida. He's probably what's going on?
Is he on here? Oh, it's giving me some kind of pop about him. Night mode.
Yeah, just want to be able to.
Let me hit it real quick.
If you want to,
hold on. Let me check. Let me check. Be right back.
Yeah, no problem. A little intermission. I know it's live again. Yeah. All right, cool. All right,
we're back. Stun mode.
He's always Instagram live. But at the same time, it's just like it's really good, feel good. I mean, that's just from me listening to the first time and everything.
Right.
But it's just like and people can listen to your music and feel that way the first time they hear it, but not the type they gotta listen to it over and over again. I feel like that's a very good omen and everything in terms of getting your art out there and stuff. Like I feel like if no one's ever told you, I really appreciate your art.
Hey, thank you.
And I want to be able to just go into like your catalog as well, but I want to save it for later on because I want to go deeper into like into your life, into your background and everything. So it's like you led all the way from Baltimore. What got you into Florida?
Yeah,
what's your experiences there?
Yeah, so we moved there. So my wife was pregnant with our first son, the one who's 15 now, and we wanted to move away to somewhere. The main driver was it was just too damn expensive where we were living. So just living in Maryland, just the cost. We didn't see being able to afford a home ever in our future. I don't see how we could ever do it. So that was a first. So then also my wife's parents lived down there. So between the two, having family support was also a big factor, as well as cost of living. And then there was also just a lot of drama with, my family situation, just like, with my, relatives. So it's like, also that wasn't the main driver, but it was also part of it. Like, is it worth being here because there's so much stuff going on? So, but the main thing was housing and then being near family. So yeah, we moved to Florida for those reasons. Then end up and we had those things. We were able to afford a home for the first time, as well as being near family, and that helped a lot when their kids were younger. Okay,
and like in terms of Florida, what part of Florida was like Orlando, Miami?
Yeah, so if you were looking at a map of where Orlando and Miami are, it was kind of in between on the East Coast.
In between on the East Coast.
So Port St. Lucie, which is like 45 minutes north of West Palm Beach. So yeah, like East Coast, like Southeast Florida.
Oh, okay. Is Florida as crazy as people make it out to be, or is it just?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It is. It is.
I thought it was a bit.
Sometimes a lot of people warned me about it too before. Like a lot of people I worked with in Baltimore, they were joking with me. They were like, they would always bring up these stuff called Florida man. Like there was always Florida man does this, Florida man. Like there's basically
back then before it was a meme.
Articles about some kind of Florida person does something crazy. So I mean. Obviously, it's not, a whole completely different world, but it's different. Every place has its own culture. It was different. It was definitely different. It was like, we love the family. We love being near family, but outside of that, it wasn't for us. So we love the family aspect, but beyond that, we like the seasons. We liked a different environment for our kids growing up. So like that's what drew us up to this area, and we just found this and just loved it up this area.
Okay. It's just like my favorite Florida man story. I think is the one where the guy that it was kind of like a chubby looking guy would have mascara on. He was you're trying to convince people that he was the Undertaker and trying to get him put him in the what was the movie trying to do? The Tombstone Pile Driver.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. I just instantly laugh because imagine going to a bar and then trying to get into a conversation with like, dude, I can like Tombstone Pile Driver. I'm telling you, I'm the Undertaker. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I am the Undertaker.
Like, how do we escalate it to the point? But anyway, I think that is so cool and everything. Yeah. I really want to go visit Florida, like Miami, especially because I actually have some contacts. One guy who lives in DC area, he throws a whole lot of parties and he's doing like a whole Miami spring break thing. Shout out to all the Jews. He does. He throws like a lot of events. So it's like I missed it out for the past couple of years because there was always something going on. But it's like gladly like I'm in a financial position where I'm not owing anything or I'm not doing anything crazy, and I plan to go back to college to get my MBA anyway. So
go get it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I plan to go to Howard University. So it's like when you mentioned Baltimore, I'm like, okay, that's in the DMV area. So it's like, okay, I really like Northern Virginia for sure. Like that. I really like that area. It's really, really, that's where my father stays. So it's like, it's really, really cool. But in terms of your transition from Florida to North Carolina, what are some things that really stuck out to you about the city of Charlotte that made you think, I hit the spot right here?
So we looked around. We knew that like we were in Florida. We knew we wanted to move up somewhere like towards Maryland or somewhere in between. So we just like looked at different places. We looked at going back to Maryland. We looked at Pennsylvania. We looked in places in Virginia. And we were driving back from Virginia and said, let's just check out. We had checked out Raleigh before. We said, let's just check out Charlotte just to find out. Mm-hmm. And so we first looked at South Charlotte and we just liked the feel. We liked we knew it had seasons, right? More Florida's like, hot. It's like hot and hotter.
And like
pretty much.
What was it like? Humidity, a whole lot of humidity. Yeah, I can't do
big time. But I will say Florida is amazing to visit. Like visiting is awesome, especially when it's like the cooler, weather and other times of year. Like it's a great place to visit. So we liked just like kind of the amenities. We liked the feel. We liked the uptown area. Like just being able to get the stuff that there were sports teams. Just having young kids, family friendly. And then we end up on the north side, like Huntersville, Cornelius area, and just like. We just love the whole area. So just like the whole feel, like we identified with it.
Yeah, the great thing about Charlotte is that there's so many sides to it and everything, but it's not like too extreme and everything. Like if you want to go to like, the more sophisticated part of town, okay, go obviously closer to South Charlotte, Matthews area and everything. If you want to like more deeper into the more cityer, urbane type vibes, you'll probably go around like, I want to say southern part, maybe Steel Creek area, or if you want to go to like maybe East Side Charlotte or northern side, maybe around Sugar Creek. Well, actually, no, Sugar Creek's the hood. What am I talking about? But anyway, it's like but there's all types of sides. If you want to just live more mundane, or you want to live a more family, type urbane type side, maybe West Side Charlotte. I have a lot of friends on West Side. It's just like each side of Charlotte is just like has its own personality.
It's true. That's true.
And every neighborhood has its own sense of like identity.
Yes.
But it's not extreme like it used to be. Although like a lot of things are still kind of going a little unhinged. But at the same token, it's just like I feel like that's one thing I really like adore about Charlotte. It's like we're still coming into our own.
That's true. That's true.
Whole. So it's like a lot of people moving here and everything. So it's like getting your perspective of like why you moved here and everything, and how you view the city and all of that. You just feel like this is a place that you feel you can stay for.
Oh yeah, that's
retire.
I'm here. We're here. Like we've been here since 2013. So 11 years, except for one little year stint. And just love it. I love and then it's also access to go other places too with the airport. So Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm like, it's Charlotte's in my blood at this point.
Yeah, dude.
And
you came like right before he won a championship. So it's just
right.
Well, hopefully it's coming soon. I'm not really liking how the Panthers is playing right now, but it's just like I'm still praying on it. I'm gonna pray on it. 2015 wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long. Actually, it was 10 years. It hurts. It still hurts to this day, but I still feel like we still good. Just want to check in. Good, keep going. All right, but just want to be able to make that sense. But just want to go into your music catalog and everything, and just like what inspires you in terms of getting ideas for your music and everything. And,
it's a combo. It's a combo. You know, the way someone asked me this before, like how do you go about writing songs? And it you know, each song like has its own. I have different kind of models that I've used. One is I just listen to something. So if I'm like going beat hunting, I'll call it, right? Beat shopping. If I'm looking for some kind of like just looking around, if I hear something, I feel something, I'll just start like I feel it. I feel something, and like the message is already there, like based on life experience. It's just bringing it out. So if I hear something that I feel, then I'll start writing to that. Or I'll just start melodically humming to it, or like, you know, coming up with a hook on my own. Just, you know, that's one model. Kind of, I just, you know, it's almost like if you saw something like, oh yeah, those clothes will look good. Like I can make something work with that. So usually, like often that's happened. I just listen to hear something, I feel something, and then it comes out. We all have so many stories. We have multitudes of stories of experience. So it's just like something comes out. Other models I've had, like I've heard something and I've wanted to do something with it, and I've like, you know, gone to the studio with like very little written, and I've just figured out together either with the other artists I'm working with or with my engineer, and like we kind of figured out like almost like melodically, and then I fill in the words afterwards of like what the story's about. But the very first song that I've wrote was actually, you know, the message that I started with was about mental health. The mental health is a big, you know, it's been the greatest source of suffering in my family and for me. So like the first song I did was that I wrote to was I took this fabulous song, you know, girl, you be killing them, you be killing them.
Oh yeah, I remember
I took that and turned it into therapy, be healing them. Oh. And basically I modeled the whole flow and cadence, like, so it wasn't super original, but I changed it, like, and I was figuring out how to do this music thing. So like I took that and I just wrote my own lyrics to it about my experience with mental health and therapy and how that helped me get through depression and suicidal thoughts and all kinds of stuff. And that was my first message, but it led to other kinds of emotions, experiences. Like I wrote one called Road Trip. We were driving from North Carolina to Florida, and I was writing in the car as we were going. And at one point I kicked my family out the car and was like, okay, I need to record this on my phone real quick. And so they're like, what are you doing? Like we're at like a gas station or a rest stop or something, you know? So, but I'm like, you know, out here on this road trip, like, so it depends. Like, Friday's song we talked about. I was driving to Dreamville Festival last year.
Oh, how many Dreamville Festivals have you been to?
Just one. That was the first time I went to one.
I've been to every one.
Hell yeah. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I had so much fun.
And you went to the last one?
It was Usher. It was last year. Yeah. Usher, Lil Wayne was there with Drake.
Oh yeah, you went to the best one.
It was wild.
Great.
It was wild. It was. Yes. I had a blast. So I was driving to that. I kind of just went spontaneously too. Like I got up. I had just started making music. I think I had released one song so far, like the Road Trip. I was driving there, I heard this beat, and I was just like, you know, and it was a Friday when I was going. It became like, and I just felt good. I was like, you know what? So I started rapping. So I just started freestyling stuff, and like the Friday song hook started coming out. Like, because I was excited about where I was going. It was a Friday, but then also I was feeling alone as far as in music, like not feeling supported in my journey. So like I have messages of both in that song. So, it just depends on what I'm feeling. If I hear something sonically, it's like the emotion, the story then just starts to come out.
That's so great. I'm glad you had a great time at Dreamville Fest. Oh my gosh, man. I loved it. It's just like, bro, I went to the very first one back in 2019. That was before COVID. That was a pre-COVID one. And that was when we only had one day.
Who were some of the headliners there?
I remember obviously J. Cole, but that was the one. That was the one time he brought Meek Mill on stage. That
must have been
that
fire.
Was crazy. And who else? It's so hard to just kind of go back because it's just like it's been such a long time.
Did Meek Mill do Dreams and Nightmares?
Yeah, every time.
Okay, I was gonna say that must have been going crazy.
He's got to do it. But I do remember it was just I was in college at the time. It was 2019, so it was my first year at university. Yeah. I just recently transferred the year the semester prior, so it's just like I didn't have a car at the time, so I was like from Raleigh and everything. I had to just take the
train.
From Durham to Raleigh, I just took the train.
Okay,
so it was like about 30 minutes, not even that long. It was like 10, 20. There wasn't nothing. It was actually a good time because it's like literally I walked all the way from the train station to the Dorothy Dix where they actually had it. So it's just like I was just walking there and everything. I was just
and there's a lot of people out walking around too.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's at least my experience. The one time I went there, the parking's so crazy, anyways, that it looked like walking probably was helpful.
Yeah, man. It was such a good time. Everybody was chilling. That was when it was a little bit smaller, so you can kind of take it in a little bit more, but it was still pretty full and everything. Yeah. Now it's like you really would get lost now. There's so many people.
Oh my God. So it's funny. I've got a dreams and nightmares story that I can share real quick.
Oh, really?
So I've done a ton of as I've discovered how much I love music, I've done a ton of karaoke.
Oh.
Because I've discovered this passion. It's like oozing out of me, music. I love it. So I'll go, and also I look at it as like I'm practicing performing because people know the song. So one time I made the bold decision to do Dreams and Nightmares. And if you know that song, right, there's a lot of one particular word that I'm not going to say.
That's okay.
It's like every other bar is on that. So I'm up on stage doing the song, and I'm not saying that, right?
That's good.
But one of my buddies is there, right, who is able to say this word. And he's kind of back in the cut grabbing the mic, and he's saying it every other word. So I'm on stage, and there's people like looking at me like funny, like, what the hell's going on? And it wasn't me saying it, right? It wasn't me saying it.
It's all right.
So it's like, it was crazy. So then, but and he's a rapper too. So he later on told me, he was like, listen, I had to go up to them and tell them they want to throw a bottle at you. I had to tell them it was because it was him. He was back in the cut hiding.
Yeah,
it was funny as hell. But it all became it became just a joke. It ended up becoming a joke. Like it didn't escalate.
Oh no,
it was funny as hell though.
Of course,
I was like, yeah, maybe I'll pick a different song next time.
Next time pick a different song. I understand. No, it's fine, but at least it's like you weren't. At least you weren't trying to do or be hateful. You were just like the song.
No,
and everything.
it was high energy
words like that in a lot of songs. So it's like it's really no big deal and everything. I remember what was his name? There was a comedian who he married a black woman. I forgot. They recently divorced. I forgot. Gary Owen. I think there was a situation kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
Where he was responding to somebody who was letting his wife kind of say the word in between, That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, for me, I have a little bit more tough skin on it. It's like you didn't say it. So it's like that's all that matters and everything. You at least respect it to the point where you understand not to say it. So 100%. It's like, so it's like as long as you do that, that's all that matters. However they felt in the moment, at the end of the day, you didn't say it. You weren't trying to say it. There are people who say it on Xbox just to get a rise out of people and everything, comments,
That's
so
crazy.
just want to be able to just tell you from that point on and everything, just to kind of give you confirmation on that.
Right, appreciate that.
And it's just like, by the way, you work with another artist, she calls herself Big Shadow now.
Oh yeah, Shadow.
I'm trying to hold myself and call her Big.
I know it's a habit because we've done 2 songs together. And the first one, she was still branded SFM
Good
Big
Love.
Mother.
Yes, I like that song. I was just in that song.
Oh yeah, you're bumping it. I heard you. I appreciate it. I was like, hold on, I'm rolling up here. I know that song. I know that beat. It's a good one.
I'm gonna listen to your songs, bro. If I'm gonna interview on this podcast, I gotta listen to your music.
You know what? And I appreciate you doing the research.
Yeah, of course. It's just me giving respect to the artist. I don't want to just hop on and I don't listen to anything or take the time out. Like I went out jogging before I came here. I was tired, but I still had to get on and just like, no, I gotta make it here. I gotta listen to this. I gotta listen to this. Like I gotta put this on the way. Just 20 minutes away from where I'm staying at. So I'm okay. How many songs? Okay, a couple songs. Loved every song. I
appreciate that. Yeah, we just dropped one, right? So my latest release is we collabed on a song. It's a country hip hop song.
Yes.
Called QC Outlaws.
Oh yes.
And people have been loving that joint. We've performed it several times. Like people, it's just a fun country hip hop vibe.
And it works at the best time because country is really going up there now.
100%.
And everything like Jelly Roll and everything, which is like I'm a fan of Jelly Roll's like personality.
Yeah.
And it's just like one thing I like about country music is that like now it's drawing people in like, of people of all different cultures.
Yes, yeah. Beyonce did her big country joint as well. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot. It's like I know it's also a source of money too. Like a lot of money's been spent in that area, right? So it's like, okay, kind of go after where the market is. Mm-hmm, but yeah, there's been a lot of focus there.
But you see why though? Because it's like one thing I'm noticing about country music, like their vibration is a little bit more higher. Like one, it's relatable. Yeah. 2, it's like it gives people a sense of healing, in a sense, and it's like it kind of refreshes people. That's one thing I'm really like. It's like it has soul in it, like I said earlier, and everything is. I feel like what started it, that trend. Like, was it Lil Nas X that started it? I think it was. After that was a couple years.
Well, Nelly was doing stuff too before that. So Nelly's like Nelly. I mean, I'm sure if we go back in history, there's gonna be someone's like, you know what? There was this back in the '70s. There was something like, but at least when I think about it, I think about Nelly connecting with like Tim McGraw, was like one of them. And then Nelly he did some other stuff like Florida Georgia Line. I remember he was like, pushing it, with like creating some of those connections. But it's it's fun bringing. I think anytime, like, a beautiful thing about music is it's a creative thing. So, and a creative thing means there are no rules, right? Yeah. There's nothing that's wrong, right? It's all subjective. My son's joking me because I always say that it's all subjective, right? It's art. So you can combine, country and heavy metal or hip hop and whatever, some piano, like,
different colors in the spectrum.
Yeah, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, you mix blue and yellow, you get green. So it's just like, it's just always something new. And I'm actually glad that like country is becoming more like accessible to like people, different backgrounds and everything.
Agreed.
Because it's just like, it's good to like kind of switch things up over a while and everything. And it's just like, I feel like, country music has a lot to offer the world. And it's like, I'm starting to see like even like, I'm starting to see patterns close to like even reggae music to a sense, because everybody can listen to reggae music. Like everybody does. No one even cares.
It's so chill.
And it's just like,
you feel so mellow and chill.
Yeah, and I'm really proud that country music is actually going that direction. Where it's like now it's like it's being accepted more. So like when y'all put songs like that like out there and everything, it's bumping in a place like Denmark.
Oh my gosh! When I saw that, I was like, "Hold on, Denmark is the top streamer."
Yeah, I had to comment on like that's great. Denmark in his house.
They're rocking that. Yeah, I guess they've got. I mean, I've never been to Denmark. I don't know what it's like there at all.
You got a reason.
I just know they call them Danish, right? So but they're rocking that QC Outlaws. But I mean, like even like so country that piece. When I was growing up, that was not an influence as a child. It was not influence at all. It was something I was like, oh, country music, like 'cause we didn't There was like more rural areas, further away from where we live, and we played against like more country teams, and like that was like not our style of like where we lived. So, but then when we moved to Florida, and Florida by all means is like where we live was not truly country, right? There are country parts of Florida, but where we were was not. But something around having my first son and the storytelling of like my wife and her dad listened to country music, and I never listened to it before, didn't care for it. But becoming a father and then living in Florida, some of those combinations those two things, I started listening to country music and started to appreciate storytelling, like the storytelling that I heard, and to what you said, kind of the vibrations, kind of like the messaging. I was like, you know what? This is something I feel like I can listen with my kids in the car and feel comfortable with and feel like comfortable with. Like I'm still going to bump my stuff, on my own without a doubt. Yeah. But I felt good about that. So I actually even tell that like, we've got a song, and I've got another collab with an artist named Nate Clay, and it's called Country Boy Swag, and we put that up like maybe a couple months ago, and I actually tell that story in that song about like, hey, moved to Florida, then moved to NC, and all this stuff, like how I came into country, like it's just like we go through seasons in life, and like even your tastes change and different things. So it's like, but it's all who we are, and just like our personality, it's all an amalgamation of all the things we've been through.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel that's great, especially if you even had experience with trying to put a message out about mental health and everything. Yeah. Country's a very good lane to even go through that path, because it's like my mom is straight out of West Africa, and she loves country music. I don't know where she heard it. I need to ask her.
She heard it and just loved
it and everything.
That's wild.
She loved straight out of Liberia. And she would put it on like in the car. I'd be like, bro, please cut that off. Because she likes hip hop.
Do you know who it is? Do you know what artist she rocks?
Yeah, she likes Randy Travis.
Look at that. See, that just shows like they say, music is a universal language. Like it really is. Like, because even, my son's introduced me to stuff that like we don't even know the language. Like I don't even know what country it's from, but it just sounds and it feels good. Like it's like it's connecting on a different level. Like the sound, especially when it's live music too. Live music, you feel in a different way. But I'm with you. It's interesting. Look at that, how that transcended.
And it's cultures. And it's great that it's actually bringing more people in, because if you look deeper in the history of country music and how it started, just like jazz and the blues and everything, a lot of it was started from the banjo, and the banjo actually came from like an African drum instrument and turned into a guitar, and that's where it all comes from and everything. A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, I want to do more extensive research to kind of verify everything, but it's just like at the same token, that's why it's like with music, it should be used to bring people together. 100%, it don't matter. Like, it don't matter. There's no nobody owns the music or whatever genre. You know, there'd be people in Japan that like hip hop and like and everything.
Right.
There'd be people in the United Kingdom that'll do dance hall music and everything. You know, it's just like that's one thing I love about music, that it can really bring people together, and that's what we should really shoot for and everything. So in regards to like mental health and everything, and just how you use your music to really get your messages out, like, you know, how do you pretty much go into the process and like of really setting that up and everything?
And it's not something that's been in every song, but I'd say so that first one that I did, which I didn't release because I didn't have, you know, rights to that beat, that was like a commercially, but I performed that one, and I thought someone told me I could release it on some other platform, which I didn't. Maybe I did on SoundCloud at one point.
Yeah, you probably use SoundCloud.
I think that. Yeah, I think they weren't gonna like take me violent, you know, take it down. But a song "Get Up" is one, so which is one that I'm very passionate about. So this song "Get Up," it started as something else. The initial idea was actually, there was a time when my mom was after my parents got divorced when I was around 14. Later on, my mom was in a situation where she was a victim of domestic violence from someone that was living in her home. And so I actually went in inspired to write this song about this, like the song "Get Up." But then it became, the more I started writing it, and I co-wrote this with my engineer, who's really good. His name is Brown at Grindhouse Studios. And that's where I've done 90% of my recording. So yeah, Grindhouse is dope. Jason, Jet, and team are dope.
The last people I had on this podcast, I took them on tour to go check out Grindhouse Studios and everything.
Hell yeah.
They loved it, bro. They
loved
the Skybox. They loved it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yes, but please. Please.
So we co-wrote that. Just coming up with ideas together, and then I realized this message wasn't just about domestic violence anymore. It was about, you know, adversity in life as a whole, which to me was about also mental health. To me, it was about my mom's unexpected death from a heart attack in 2021. To me, it was about.
I send my condolences.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I had blood clots in 2021, just a few months after. They were my legs and my lungs that could have killed me. So it's like it was all these things started coming out in my mind for in this song, and so that is one of like. When I think about the songs, that really is, I'm pouring my emotion out. That's one, and I feel it when I perform it as well. So I don't think about it like proactively every song, but certain songs it really comes through, because it's like, and that's one of them, including mental health is a part of that song. Like, you know, just challenges in life, overcoming adversity, and coming to the other side. That no matter what we go through, like, things can get better. It's not going to be easy, but things can improve and get better. And that's what that song, like the hook is about. You know,
great.
You know, I know you get fed up. You just got to get up. Like that's about. So yeah, it comes into some of my songs.
I'm gonna have to check out that song for sure. Yeah. And also, that's great that you bring up mental health for sure, because it's like I also have a whole project dedicated to mental health. You know, very strongly. If you look on my page,
check that out.
Ego Trip. If you actually check out my page, you can actually look through the snippets and everything before. And I can also send you the SoundCloud link whenever you have time.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Yeah, but really, like this is my first project. It was called Ego Trip and everything.
That's a cool name.
12 tracks. Yeah, I think I got it from like Dexter's Laboratory. It was like really dope. But,
oh my gosh, Dexter's,
it was really, really dope. But anyway, it's called Ego Trip, and it's really just the basis for that tape is like, even though the sounds are more like a little bit of ASAP and a little bit of like J. Cole, a little bit of all types of stuff and everything. But essentially, it really speaks about the manias and the extremities of like, you know, depression and everything. How like one day you feel you're $1 million, and then one day it's just like you just feel like, you know, you're worthless, or you feel like nothing, or you feel like, you know, unheard, or you feel like you're drowning in a sense. So I really touch upon a lot of imagery and everything to really like connect with like the feelings and the highs and the lows of depression. So it's just like, you know, once you really listen to it from the beginning to end, like it even ends off like with the outro called, you know, "Don't Trip" and everything. Yeah. So essentially the main focus is like, you know, whatever that's going in your life, whatever that's you feel like, whether you feel like you're unworthy of something, or that you feel like you'll never reach something, or it's like you feel like something is just, you know, weighing over your shoulders, or something that you feel like you can't go to other people about. I would just say not to don't trip in the sense of just like, oh, I don't care about it, but just don't trip, that don't let things bother you to the point where it's just like it hinders you from living
your life, right? This
life.
Precious time that you have, right?
Yes.
That's good. I love the messaging. I love how where you brought that. I love how you directed that energy, right? And it didn't. I have respect for how much time it takes to put together all those songs, all those messages. So I appreciate you sharing all that.
I had to fast while I was doing that, like fasting, like literally, like I was eating like every 2 days, literally just so I could be able to be focused to get that project out, because like I really was going through an issue, like where it's like this one girl, I think we just stopped talking, and I didn't understand why and everything, and it just kind of, I was just sitting in my dorm room, and I was just wondering like, what could have I done? Like, what did I do so bad? And I just started having like a, not identity crisis, like a midlife crisis, like when you're early 20s, and I'm just like, bro, like I've been wanting to do this music thing for so long. I'm going to take this time. I'm going to finish this tape. And so I went back home. And this is during post-COVID time. So it was like, you didn't really have, all my classes were online anyway. So it's just, I just had the dormitory just to be there. And I just went home, and I was fasting for months trying to get this tape out. And I finally was able to get it out. Crazy. When I got it out, I had COVID. Oh my gosh. So when I actually released it, it was actually, I was
the COVID MC.
I was in my dorm by myself being quarantined while I was uploading it.
Holy moly.
So it's just like, you know, just another story and everything.
But look at that dedication, though. Look at that dedication. And like a lot of things, out of pain becomes purpose, right?
Yes.
Out of trials, right, we can triumph. Like, it's beautiful. Like, people talking about like making your message, like all that stuff. Like you took all that, you put that into that energy and fasting and focus, like even through COVID, it turned into something beautiful.
Yeah, and a lot of people enjoy the song. Now I listen to the song, I feel kind of cringed out, like, oh man, this is a couple years ago.
I get that, because you grow, you grow as an artist.
Yeah, an artist. So it's like you kind of like, you know, you kind of become your biggest critic and stuff. But sometimes
are we?
Yeah.
So, but someone else will be like, that's so dope. Yeah. We're like, you know, I could do this. Like we got to accept our gifts.
Yeah, right? But then I look back at it, I'm like, well, I really had this really set up, really pretty like professional, like it's just like I really went through to actually make this thing happen. I made it happen. So it's like, I might have to check my project out just again, because I plan on getting back in the studio to get situated again to set up like some new projects and stuff. I gladly have a good job where I could be able to fund it and everything. It's just, that's you know,
a huge part of it right there.
Yeah, so
hopefully, go get it.
Yeah, hopefully this week I want to get these couple episodes, this podcast out for sure, before I get like to the next one. You know, like I already picked out the beats and everything, and I just got to write out the songs to just get back into it again.
I love it. I love it. I love seeing creative energy come together. Like I've come to like. Music wasn't something that, like, when I was in 5th or 6th grade, I played like a little drum set for like a band. I mean, nothing too deep. And then I discovered this passion, like, you know, later in life by usual standards. And like, I have just come to really enjoy it. That whole ability to creatively express like means so much. And I cheer, and I love cheering for other creatives, like to express, because whatever you're sharing, there's someone else who has that same, like they're going through that. Or, you know, or whatever you went through, they're going through that right now, and they can connect with that.
Yes, and that's just the beautiful thing about music. It makes it all relatable. We're all good on the video side thing? All right, cool. All right, we got about like 20 more minutes. So okay. We could just want to let you know. And yeah, you know, it's just like, that's just great that you have that energy. Every time I see you at an event, like you're always rooting for people and everything. And I see that you're connecting with all these people and that you're always in other people's phone lists. I'm like, okay, this seems like a pretty good dope guy and everything. I'm just working today and I'm just like, man, I need to set up like an interview today, because I actually had to pick up a flash drive because like it takes a while to get a lot of the information on the flash drive and everything. Yeah. So I'm like, you know, sometimes I'll leave it over and I'm just let them just kind of put all the stuff on, all the content on it. And I'm just like, you know, while I'm going back to pick this up, why don't I just set up another? Hey. And I'm just like, okay, it's 2 o'clock. Let's see if I can find out. I set up with that. Nobody responded yet. I'm just like, hey, yo, do you have time? It's like, nah, I ain't got no time. I got to do it on Monday. Like Sunday's not a good time. Like, okay, what about you? Oh, no, I'm out. I'm in Atlanta. Okay, what about you? I'm in South Carolina. It's like, hold up, there's a guy named Chris Gere and everything. He be doing things. I'm sure he would love to hop on. It's like, oh, yeah. And then he said automatically, no surprise. And now you're here. And now we're here. So
I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, it just happened to be like, you know, no one had sports going on tonight. Like there were no conflicts tonight. Yeah, which isn't always the case. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad. I appreciate you. You know, wanted to have you on it. This is cool.
No, I apprate you taking the time to come here, because time is the most expensive thing like you could ever spend. 100%. So it's like for y'all to even like take time out to actually come on my podcast, it shows that you like to believe in me and in my time. 100%. And then it's just like, you know, getting to meet so many different people, hear from their background. It's just something that just invigorates me. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that just like this whole Mental Deaths podcast. It was just something I put on my vision board. Like I said, oh, this is a pretty cool logo. I wonder if I can do something with this.
It's a dope logo too.
So that's where it all started from. And now it's right here on this banner. Now it's on this other banner.
And it's 160 episodes. So, and that's what I was saying, that's that creative energy, right? Creating something that's like inside of you. There was a vision, an idea, and now like you've created this whole infrastructure, this whole thing. Like, and here we are.
And some people, and some people are creative and they don't follow up with the things that they want to do.
Right,
you know, it's just like you only got one life to live and everything. Let me make something out of this. Like maybe make the most out of this. I want this to be kind of used as a time capsule. So in a couple years, we look back at this and everything. We're like, wow, this is what I thought. Oh, this is where I was.
True.
This is where I was. And like now I'm here. It's just like,
it's like a photo, right? It's like a video. It's a photograph. It's like that snapshot in time.
Yeah, it's like a snapshot in time. So it's just like, you know, back in regards to like your connection with a lot of artists in Charlotte and everything. What got you connected with Drew Billions or Trey Rose? Like, how do you get mingled in with them?
I've met a lot of people through a lot of just different events. I'm a people person. Like, and my favorite part of music is collaborating, is working with, like, I love to work with other artists. I really enjoy working with other people. So, played a lot of team sports growing up. My dad was a coach. I played football and basketball, baseball, soccer. Like, I love being around people. I get energy. And don't get me wrong, I need my time. I need my downtime too. We all need time to kind of just disconnect, be left the hell alone. I need that too. Capricorn.
Oh, cool. I'm an Aquarius.
Okay. You're right at, that's right after, right? Yeah, because I always used to think I was Aquarius, right? But I was like, I'm right on the board. I'm the 17th of January.
Okay, 17th
of January. You're asked. So I got connected with them through initially, believe it was might have been through the Spark. Last year, there was like someone DM'd me saying, "Hey, this is a cool thing, an opportunity to perform coming up." And I was like, okay. I didn't know them at the time. I was like, okay. I didn't know them, but I came out and performed. I was like, okay. So I got to know Drew and Trey, and then later on, there was another thing I performed at. I think it was called like Bars and Brunch. The Reese Raps had put together, and Drew was there. And and the thing I love about Drew, like he's also like a very supportive, positive, thoughtful guy.
Yeah, he's cool. I'm trying to get him on too.
Yeah, he just did a real dope thing on Arc of the Effort, on freestyle. He did like a cool saga going on that. But about Drew, I performed at this event, right? And I was still like really early, and I'm still learning as I go. Like as a new artist, I was really early right then. And he took the time to say, hey, like coach me, like, hey, if you don't mind, like, I think if you did this and did that, it would go better. Like, and it wasn't like a knockdown. It was hey, this is how you could get better. And I was like, it set me back, because not everyone's like that. Not everyone. Some people, like everything in life, some people look at it like, we can all win. Like there's enough pie. Like that we can all like get better and help each other. Like it's hard enough already. And other people look at it like scarcity mindset. Like
I was going to say scarcity and abundant mindset. That's the difference.
If you win, I lose. Versus other people are like, you know what, we can both win in our like together. So like, and he had that abundance mindset, and it helped me. Like what he said was helpful and valuable. So I got connected with that way, and then just found out I'm going to be performing at the Spark Festival that's coming up in October. Yeah, I'll see you there. It'll be fun.
I wish I could have been able to drop some music to actually perform at this one, though. But I'm just like, maybe next year. Maybe like, let me just get some more content out again. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get into the groove of things again before. Cause I never performed. I dropped music, but I still never performed yet and everything.
Yeah, you should do it. You should do it, just like your vision board. Do it just like your vision board.
I put it all on my vision board, too.
Yeah, and I'll tell you my own cheat code. Yeah. Karaoke is great performance practice.
Okay.
It's great because you're doing songs that someone already knows. They know it, so you're feeling like in a supportive audience. They have zero expectations of you. There's zero expectations. Because when people do bad at karaoke, like everyone's like they're having fun. Like they might laugh a little bit, but they're not expecting you to be like, they're not there to see you perform. Like they're there to just see people and have a good time. Like it's actually a really like low-key way to just like get out there and practice and just practice your voice, your delivery, your body movements, all that, engagement, talking to people, fans, and so that's helped me, as a new artist.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely take into consideration for sure. They got like any hip hop karaoke spots?
The spot to go to, and I've been, cause I've shopped around. Like my go-to is Noda 101. Noda 101 is the joint for hip hop. No, that's been my favorite one. Hip hop and R&B, and there's 7 days a week till 2 a.m.
Oh, it's always till 2 a.m.
Yeah, you could go there right after this and go up and go do some J. Cole, or we're saying do something.
Okay. And it's called Noda.
Yeah, NODA 101. And a lot of artists come through there.
Oh, nice.
A lot of, I've had, some come with me, and there's a lot of really dope talent too that comes through there. People that can really rap and really sing really well. Like there's actually, it isn't all that. There's people that first time as well. So yeah, that's so just sharing that. But yeah, Sparks can be cool.
Maybe that could really help in terms of like trying to break that, sense of performance anxiety or whatever.
I really think it will. Cause I started doing it the first time. I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the hell. But every time you do it, you get better. Like anything else like that, you just go up. It's just like, I remember when I played football, it was always about the hardest part in the game was getting that first hit. Like when you get knocked or you knock someone out, hit someone hard. Like after that first contact, it's like you felt good. You got the jitters out. So you still might get a little bit, but the first time is the hardest. After that, it gets easier.
It gets easier.
Yeah.
I believe that for sure, because even when I was first going to the studio and everything, at first it was so rough. And
It's like, I know what you mean. Same here.
Even with poetry, I've been doing poetry for a very long time, so it's like so I'm used to saying an out word and going to poetry slams, so it's no problem on that report.
Yeah.
But it's like then you had to keep your breath up, then you had to keep not your breath, your breathing up. Keep your breathing up and everything to match the actual beats of the music and everything. I didn't realize how out of breath you can be when you're trying to keep up until you actually step into the studio and started doing it. So it's just it really kind of helped me the more that I did it and everything. And sometimes you just plug in a verse, so you don't just.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. Saying even big artists, they're punching in stuff like that.
Yes, having a good engineer is very, very helpful. So it's just having a good support system is also very helpful. What would you say is what composes of your support system?
My biggest one, as I mentioned, Brown. So the guy named Brown, he's an artist. He's a dope artist. BRWN at Grindhouse. That's been my guy. And there's other great engineers I've worked with too who have been supportive of me. But the biggest support for me has been Brown, my engineer. He's my go-to engineer. He is just coached me through stuff. He's pushed me. I'll come in with something of what I think is what I think I'm going to do. Right. But I'm open to I'm humble that I know that, creative journeys can go all kinds of ways and can, and I always get amazed. It becomes something that we co-create together. And I think a good engineer is doing that. Versus an engineer who is just going to hit the record button. Right. There's a time for that as well. If someone just knows exactly what they want, they just want someone to just hit the space bar. But the engineer is creating with you. They're an artist, right? They're artists as well. So Brown has been my guy. He's helped me push me even beyond what I thought I was doing, with kind of more straight rap to melodic stuff. He's really helped me channel this confidence that I did not have in beginner as far as melody. So Friday Song's an example, different things. It became words and lyrics became melody. And that really, pushes it to a whole different level. So he's been the biggest. Grindhouse Studios has been amazing for me.
Yes, I've been wanting to work with Grindhouse Studio, but gladly my engineer just came out of town and came back to Charlotte, so it's I need to really hit him up and see what he's looking at, because he said he would get everything set up by the 9th of this month, so I just got to reach out to him again so I can be able to get a status update, how things are looking and whatnot. But I definitely want to check in with Grindhouse for sure, because I already put my $200 deposit in and everything. So
okay, you get after it.
So now I got to really make it work for right now and everything, so it's just I just gotta have to do some more things on the side. After this I got to go work security at the strip club for
You're hustling, baby. You're hustling.
And then maybe I might go back to doing hood Uber again for sure to just make some extra money on there.
Yeah.
I think the lowest one an engineer would charge is about $35.
The lowest ones I've done have been about 35.
Yeah,
right.
35 is just fine. I think my original I don't want to actually go into detail how much he's gonna pay for somebody trying to write down. I need to get in there. But he would really work with me too. So it's just I love the atmosphere of Grindhouse and everything, and it's just and it's 24 hours. So it's really you can just set up whenever
you can pull up whenever it is, you schedule it. So as far as other support systems, other artists I've worked with, I've done a ton of collabs. So I've in my year and a half of making music, I think I've collabed with over maybe 10 to 12 different artists. And I really enjoy that part. And so that's been a support system, learning, I'm bringing something, they're bringing something, you're learning from each other. I've done a ton of open mics, the open open mic infrastructure. I remember first getting started, Reese Raps and Dope Events was one of the open mic type events. Those have been helpful. Arsena with Dear Soul Music Company, she's done curated concerts as well. She's been a great support system. There's been a lot of, I went to this It's Your Time conference, both years it was here. Confluence conference, which there's another one coming up, which is really big. So like there's been great. There's this guy named Rick Thurmond who's in I forget, he does something as far as policy goes within the city. He works for the city, I believe, and they're really pushing to make Charlotte like a music destination, like to really continue to grow it. And there's
to make it happen.
There's things there. So there's been a lot of different pieces there that have helped me kind of grow. And then from a personal standpoint, it's just been getting after and just putting in time and learning and being open to take risks, being open to look stupid, you know what I mean? Being open to just learn and grow and get better.
Yeah, that's wonderful, wonderful advice. We spoke about your boys and everything. We haven't really spoken about your wife, though.
Yeah.
Everything. How would you describe your wife and everything, like just her personality?
Yeah, so she's the rock of the family. Like she keeps things running, whereas I have grown and kind of transformed, evolved to a very creative person, which has its ups and downs. Like everything has its pluses and upsides and downsides. So she's very dependable, reliable. She's a rock of the family with basically keeping all the trains on time, keeping things running, like type of things. So that's probably the best way to describe her. Very, very consistent, very dependable, very reliable, extreme. Very solid kind of organizer and planner. Like she's just, that's probably the best way to describe it.
That's actually really dope, especially if you're creative too, to kind of keep people like that around you.
Yeah.
Like especially if it's your rock too, and everything.
Yeah.
Because it can really, because you could just your mind could be all over the
We
place.
can be a damn mess, is what
it just balance things out. It's like that's really really cool.
Because we can get wrapped in, and especially discovering this, like wrapped up in passion, like wrapped up in creative projects, and kind of lose, because sometimes and that's been a downfall. Sometimes I can get so wrapped up and just like forget about everything else because I'll get so wrapped up in whatever the creative pursuit is. So that's one of the downsides is when you're doing something you love like that, it's easy to lose track of time, right? It's amazing because you're enjoying the moment, but so I'm learning to continue to try to get myself in check. Do the stuff that, do the stuff you need to do. You don't necessarily want, just the discipline type stuff.
Okay, cool. That's great. So it's like, would you say you're pretty optimistic in terms of like the future of music in Charlotte, North Carolina?
I definitely am. Yeah. I mean, I feel like in one way, even thinking about, just the way that the internet has made the world so small, like even thinking about places in themselves, like is hard to do because it's really about the live music aspect. It's kind of you think about when you really think about big cities, but a big independent artist I know of is just in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. Like it's like the internet has made it you can create from anywhere, right? But when you think about the big drawing people, it's really about the live performances. But I really do, from what I'm seeing with like this Confluence conference, with I'm seeing like them being intentional about wanting to grow it here. Like I see positive things. I see a desire for growth, right? It'll take policy, measures. It comes down to, from what I heard, when I learned from that conference, the reason places like Nashville became big is because the government, they said, the decision makers said, we want to make this place this kind of way, right? And created the infrastructure and created the environment for that to happen. So it's going to take that kind of thing to like really make, Charlotte grow as a music place even more than it is already. It's going to take some policy measures, but everywhere I go, I meet amazing creative, like there's talent oozing out of everywhere. There's the creative people, like that's why it's so much fun, just like meeting new people and just collaborating and just seeing what else is out there.
And that's the one thing I really love about Charlotte, that we're still like an underdog city.
Oh, 100%.
People don't realize we're actually larger than Atlanta in terms of populace.
I did not know that.
People didn't know that. Like actually, but that's mostly because we stretch a little bit more further.
That makes sense.
Because we got the Matthews, we got Pineville, we got Huntersville, and then we got Steel Creek area and every Ballantyne area, Windsor Park area. Everything just kind of have more of it's stretched out. And so a lot of people are just moving in from Chicago, Florida, New York, especially being a big thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
Ohio's another big one. Yeah.
But it also gives you a peace of mind. Like Atlanta was able to bring eyes to the city and music scene and even in other creative, and it's just like, despite, us being the bigger city, larger, it's like it seems like they're bigger because they collaborate with each other and everything. And so they work with each other and pour into each other and actually start moving. That's how you started moving. And I feel like Charlotte is starting to kind of take on to that in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, we're all starting to lean on each other, collaborate with each other, hear from each other, build relationships, and networking with each other. Even with Drew Billions, even when I spoke him a while ago and everything, before I was trying to find a studio to actually record at and everything, you know, it's just like now it's like he reached out to me through TikTok of all play. I'm barely on TikTok.
Right.
And I was like, I really love your podcast. I want to be on it. And it's like, yeah, man, you're already on the list. I'm like, what are you talking? You ain't gotta ask me. It was coming and everything. So it's just like, I'm gonna see like his availability on Sunday because I really want to get Drew on for sure.
Oh, he'll be great. He'll be great.
Oh
to speak
yes,
to.
yeah,
You know,
no, definitely.
I would love to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, I actually did an episode with Trey also, but that was in the earlier episode.
Yeah,
that was
I
like,
need
well,
to check that out, too.
there was no audio back at that time, but it's still pretty good because that was the first time me actually meeting Trey and everything.
Okay.
And even like my first impression of Trey is that he's very like ambitious and everything, and he's very on top of his purpose. Whether it's like he wants to do MMA, set up events and everything. It's like he lets the best of himself just kind of shine out, and I feel like that kind of like inspires other people to kind of.
They feel that energy. That energy is like contagious, right?
Always genuine.
Yeah,
always
he seems
cool.
like just a hustler.
Yes.
Like he's very, very driven.
That's the kind of friends that you want around you. You want hustlers. You want people who step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Very, very often. Because those are the people that are going to inspire you to, like, find success as well.
100%.
And people like that are always, like, humble. Like, I've never had an issue with Trey. And Trey never came across as arrogant or whatever. He was just a chill dude and everything and just wanted to work. So it's like, you know, I can't wait to get him on the podcast again. Like, this time live. Just to kind of catch up.
You got to do it.
And everything. So,
what if you could do something as part of Spark?
Yeah.
Oh no, it probably makes more sense to be maybe a promotional type thing.
Yeah, maybe
might be an opportunity for that.
Yeah, because we got till October 25th. I can definitely squeeze him in before then, for sure. I got like after you, you're 63, so that'll leave 37 more episodes I got to do to reach 200 because that's my goal for the year, to hit 200. So it's like 37. That'll be like close to like 10 a month, maybe 10 episodes a month. I don't know.
Grinding.
I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do the math. The math ain't math. But whatever. I mean, regardless, sir, it seems that we're reaching up on time. Okay. I want to just say thank you for bringing yourself here, and it was a great time speaking to you, hearing your background. It was amazing. You give wonderful energy. You make wonderful music and everything that should definitely be appreciated. If nobody else says anything about it, I want to say, like, bro, I appreciate your sound, man, and it will take you somewhere for sure. And it's just like, if there's anything that you want to tell the audience before we go off, you're free to do so right now.
Yeah, well, go ahead and check out my music. Number one, check that out. You know, shameless, proud plug, because we worked really hard on all kinds of stuff with talented artists, talented engineers. So check me out, Chris Gere, on everything. And then also, if you are creative or consider being creative, I encourage you, just get out and do it. Just get out and try it. Like, take that step. You won't regret it.
Most definitely. Check out QC Outlaw.
Yeah.
Rocking out in Denmark now.
In Denmark. Worldwide, baby.
Worldwide. That's it for the Mental Threads podcast. We're sewing in and now we're sewing out.
Yeah, buddy. This was great. Thank you.
Have you been on podcasts before?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
I used to have, I had a podcast called Triumph.